Welcome into a Week 13 Packers offensive breakdown of their game against the Detroit Lions. A very good Thanksgiving win for the Packers, 31-24 against a division opponent, now 3-0 in the division. Never thought, after looking at the film of the Vikings game, that this offense would look like they did today. I think LaFleur changed a lot of his tendencies, and that actually helped the Packers win in this game. They took advantage of an injured backfield. Some of the safeties had some problems, but they also let Love play during Toyotathon. So let's dive into the film and see how this Packers offense performed. First thing that I noticed in this game, and you'll see it a lot during this video as well, is looking at the balanced formation. You're going to have one tight end on both sides, and I think that keeps the Lions off balance because you can run either direction. You can flip it depending on the front that is presented. But here you're going to see that split zone action that the Packers love, but it is going to be a play action. And it's essentially going to be a two-man route concept. You're going to get a deep curl on both sides, right? You got a cover three coverage. You got a middle high safety. You got two deep. They're going to end up matching on the vertical routes. And this is just going to be really good timing here by Love. Already, you know, if we're the QB school, that ball is coming out before he's even making that break. So that is, you know, 5 A's there with anticipation. And a really nice job by Christian Watson catching that. So Love, just from the jump, having a really, really good game. And we'll see that throughout the film. But here, offensive line also doing their job. You know, Aline McNeil, one-on-one with Rasheed Walker. Handled just fine. You've got Aiden Hutchinson being picked up by a tight end, one-on-one. Fitzpatrick doing his job. And Packers getting a big completion early in this game. And of course, we can't forget about Josh Jacobs. Him being healthy was a huge boost early on in this game. You're just going to see this is a really nice duo concept up front. You're going to get your double teams here, here, and then you're going to work up to these next backers, depending on how they fire down. And you just get a good seal. The backer overflows too far towards Ryan's side, so he gets caught up by Belton. All right, he's shooting that gap way too early. That's going to create a nice seam. And I would like to see a little bit more aggression from Musgrave. All right, here he's kind of doing his little stock block. But I think he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to close the distance. He's stalking from, 3 yards out. Try to close that to 1 or 2 yards. He gets tripped up there, but man, really nice job by Jacobs. And he had a few explosive runs. I know he had a pretty decent yards per carry, but a lot of his runs didn't go anywhere. And his high average is to credit with this play and another play later on that we'll look at. Next play, I think LaFleur really caught them in a tendency here. This is a 3rd and 2. They're really going to assume that this is, it does end up being an inside zone, but you're going to see this back shift to the other side, and that's going to force a shift from the defensive line. Everyone's going to move over, and that's going to leave a very easy block here on that end, and it's going to allow this scraped backer to get picked up by the split zone, and that's going to allow a jump out. And this is just a great job. You can see checking the call, everyone on the same page. Here, you've got adjustments from the defense. Hey, it's probably going to be an inside zone, so let's prepare for inside zone to the right. It does end up being an inside zone to the right, but it's a split zone. So now you've got some gap responsibilities this backer's got to pick up here. Everything is clogged up. All right, there's nowhere to go. Now he's got to be responsible for that outside, but we've got this kick out that's coming in. And this is just a great job by, I think it's Wiley there, getting upfield, right, and getting that seal. And again, great vision by Jacobs to get out, break a tackle, and just get this explosive run. And the run game was going early on, but that was just a nice job here, making those adjustments, and getting an explosive run out of it. So Lions obviously studied their film, And this was the perfect call to get a split zone to pin that backer who would have to pursue and fill in that C gap after the defensive line rotated over. And then we'll just watch it real quick from the end zone angle, just so you can see the adjustment. Hey, we flipped the back. Hey, it's probably going to be an inside zone. And that's just Jacobs being patient, waiting for things to develop. You read that front side tackle all the way to the backside gap. If it's all stacked up, you follow that split zone, and he gets a really nice gain there. And I'll talk more about it, but I really love the aggressiveness, and just from Jordan Love as well. The play calling was there, the confidence was there. Here you've got emotion to Wicks. Wicks had a fantastic game. This is his first touchdown, but that is a great throw and a great catch. I know it, is that possession. He's got his foot down. A lot of people pointing out that the ball might have moved, but this is just all Jordan Love. We're going to pay attention. We got Wicks in motion. We got Branch. He's following in man. So he's going to take that shot, right? You're going to get this little stutter step here and go. And that's going to be enough for Wicks to create that separation. Everything else is kind of locked up because you got man coverage. You got cover one, a deep safety. He is deep on a 4th and 2, 4th and 3. And he's not able to get over there in time to break this up. He tries. He's almost there. But Wicks able to control it, get 2 feet down, and that is a very nice grab by Wicks. But again, really good job here by the offensive line as well. I just want to pay attention. Look at all these stunts. You're going to get across here. You're going to get across here. And they're going to be passed off perfectly. I thought Banks had a really good game. And you can just see Banks standing up in there in the center. All the stunts handled. Tom one-on-one with Hutchinson doing a really good job. And then you get a perfect ball right into Wicks. Hurts his ankle on that play, but obviously able to come back and make a nice play later in the game. So really nice job by this Packers offense early in the game. And even though things were going well, of course, there are things that could have potentially ended in disaster. And this is going to be one of those plays. This is an RPO. You're going to see offensive line. They're all heading downfield, right? You've got essentially a GT counter. You got guard pulling. You got tackle pulling. You're going to get this, handoff. And you have an RPO on the backside with a little stick route. And Love recognizes that space a little bit too late. So you can see that motion. He's going to move out. Branch is moving out, taking that. You just got this stick here. So on this off defender, and this is a 2nd and 5. That probably picks up the first down, which is why he wants to pull that ball, right? Because he fumbles it, now you got offense lineman 2 yards down the field. That is ineligible man downfield. That stick route is just not going to be there. So luckily, Love is able to recover that fumble, not turn it over, because, that's in plus side of the field for the Lions if he fumbles that and defense recovers. So it definitely avoided disaster on that one. Next play, Musgrave got involved in this one. We'll pay attention to him here down at the screen. And this play is going to be a play action. Everything is, heading off to the left here. And he's going to do a good job of bluffing this, right? He's going to bluff as if he's doing his normal step into run blocking. And then he's going to leak out into a sail route. And it's just going to be perfect for him. You can see how he bluffs. He dips as if he's going to make contact for the run game. And now he's creating separation. And I think this is where Musgrave excels. Is on these crossing routes, when he's got space, he's a possession guy, right? He's not going to get you rack. You'd love to, see this ball placed out in front of him so he's able to catch it and run. But you can see his instinct is, hey, I'm just going to secure this catch. All right, gets his hands on it, secures it. Big first down for the Packers. And that's what we like to see from Musgrave. I thought, he took a step up here with this play action game, right? Really taking that step, selling it. Hard left step. And you can see he's already losing that linebacker. So that's an easy read for Love and a nice throw, big completion. Everyone happy for each other. So Packers offense is moving. And this play is very controversial because I don't think LaFleur got the timeout. Obviously, there was a full start before that timeout happened. Packers got a huge break on that. But this is just a good job, isolating in man. I really like this concept up at the top. They show the switch because you're going to notice, I'll go back even a little bit further, but you're going to get Watson coming in, then running on the slant, and then you've got the switch concept with that release, right? So let's go back a little bit further. I just want to see the signals from the defense. You're going to see, hey, here you've got the hand signals from 21, right? He's saying, hey, we're going to banjo. We're going to play the outside. I'm going to take the first guy out. You're going to take the first guy in. And that perfectly happens for the Packers, right? You've got this switch release. He's going to break outside, so he's going to attach. Even though he's crossing to the middle of the field, he's breaking out. He's going to attach, and he's got that leverage to the outside. This is just a really good throw by Love. Out in front, 2 feet down, easy touchdown. I think the Packers kick a field goal though there if the refs do their job properly. Ends up being like a 4th and 6 instead of a 4th and 1. But I do like the aggression from LaFleur, and that is a really good play call based on the situation of banjoing from the Lions in the red zone. And as I mentioned, that 4th down earlier, here you have the aggression. Get a 2nd and 10. Let's take a shot. Again, you've got that balanced formation, right? You got 2 tight ends. You're going to get this play fake. A pretty weak fake, in my opinion. But of course, you got this deep shot out and up. You got man coverage. And Watson just able to make the play. Really nice job by Watson. So happy that he is back. His speed really helps this offense. And I just want to, again, shout out the offensive line. This is a really good job up front. You've got this long stunt from Hutchinson, and this gets passed off perfectly. Banks sees it, able to pick him up. He's just going nowhere. Love perfectly in that pocket. And my goodness, a good throw. Watson creates that separation one-on-one. He's got the speed to beat anyone. And we get Bo Melton involved. Obviously, I think he's come back around to being more on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, with the injuries lately, but this is a really nice job by Dobbs out front blocking. Right, but this is a tough situation. You got man. So now, once you have this quick snap in the jet sweep, he's lagging behind in man. So you really just have to seal one guy, and Dobbs is going to do his job. Right, he's going to even get him to stem inside a little bit and push him out. Almost blocks 2, but that is a really nice 16-yard gain for Bo Melton. And here you got a 1st and 10, and again, there's aggression. We're going to focus on Wicks. This coverage is going to be essentially, they're showing 2 high. You got 2 high safeties. He's going to buzz down, so we got a cover 3 buzz. He's going to take that middle third. You're essentially going to get man on the backside, so you can get a Meg, and then you've got a deep third responsibility from this corner. So anyone who goes vertical on that side of the field, he's got to end up taking, and it's just very tough on him to have to work through back to Wicks, who's going to go vertical here, because he's got to respect this out route first. He's respecting that out route, and then, actually, we got that little seam divide hitting. And Wicks with a big play, and again, an injury by the backup safety. Put the Lions in a tougher situation once he went out of the game, because then you're at your 3rd stringer, generally a special teamer, playing in that deep safety position, which is going to be very important, especially in a game like this, where the Packers were ultra aggressive. And we'll just take a look at the end zone angle. I think Belton had a much better performance this week. He was in the game, I think, for the entire game at right guard. And here, this is a really nice pocket. That is beautiful. No panic from Love, who almost gets swiped, but he's still able to rip that seam. get that ball in there to Wicks. He's able to control it and get a big 30-yard catch on first down. And this, I think, is the underrated play of the game. We're going to focus on Rasheed Walker. This is going to be Dobbs not securing the ball entirely. Could have been an incomplete pass depending on how many steps you're counting. But again, you get an RPO with a shield, right? So you essentially get a little vertical stem to shield off this defender, and you get that screen that's running underneath. And I think that's a really good play call. But this is just a really good punch, right? He's not intentionally punching that ball out. He just ends up squeezing it out. It hits his elbow. It collapses. But Rasheed Walker, with that heads-up play and taking a shot to the helmet, is a huge play for the Packers, because at this point in the game, it is 24-21. If the Lions turn them over, take it down, right, they're more likely to kick a field goal to tie in that situation. They're not going to be as aggressive. And, that really saves this game, because I think that gives Detroit a ton of momentum and potentially, enough momentum to win this game. And you have, after a face mask, making it, 1st and 1, essentially. You got a nice throw here to Wicks, and Wicks is he's going to be able to get in there. You just essentially have a space concept. Boom. We're going to get here. We're, running our routes. We're running spot routes, but we're picking the defenders within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, and then you hit them out in the flats. And Wicks able to make that move, that first step to the inside. Right, we're going to watch the reaction of that defender. We obviously have the benefit of slow motion, right? But you can see that slight step to the inside, and then he's got to work around the top of these two receivers. That's a tough play for number 6 to make. And Wicks able to get that ball across the goal line for his second touchdown of the game. So just a really nice job by this Packers offense. Good release there by Wicks, creating enough separation and then getting that ball across. Fantastic game from Wicks. And with the Lions playing a ton of man, the Packers love to use this bunch formation. It forces them to play differently. I think here they were anticipating this kind of motion out, and it's just going to be a pure man, pure cover one. You've got your deep high safety, and you're going to have man across the board with these three, over these three. And it's pretty well covered. I would say, the coverage was quite sticky for the most part. The Lions play a ton of man coverage, and they played very well, even though you've got these switch concepts. So just paying attention, at the line of scrimmage, Wicks has a very nice release on the inside, gets Branch, stepping the other way, but Branch is able to recover. That's a pretty messy, group right there with everything crossing. Right, I think that's a good play design, because Watson does get open, Wicks gets open. I think to be honest, if this ball goes to Wicks, that's going to be a penalty, a guaranteed penalty, because the refs are going to see that. But instead, ball goes to Watson, and he's got to try to catch with one hand, potentially, pass interference, because he's being held. He's got one hand on the ball. Luckily, it doesn't end up making a difference. This is 9 minutes left in the game. There's no guarantee that the Packers don't punt on this possession. But, that is a potential pass interference on Watson. But I also think that Wicks creates a little bit more separation from Branch in the middle of the field. It's just a tougher throw, because you have that whole defender that's going to drift back with Wicks cutting across the middle of the field. So, missed call there, but I'm not going to complain, because Packers got away with a few calls of their own earlier on in this one. And then the last play, 4th and 3. This is a huge play call to go for it. Obviously, a first down wins them the game. No more timeouts. You're going to chew off 2 minutes with 3 snaps if you're just kneeling the ball. So at 1:55 left in the game, this first down is going to seal it. And you can tell right from the jump, hey, we got all these guys in the line. This is going to be cover one, right? You're probably going to have a blitzer coming down. You're going to have this one high safety. I think he's way too deep in this situation. But I think the idea is, hey, we're in press. If one of these guys goes vertical, we need that, that deep safety to make a play. So I understand it. You know, if a guy gets beat off the line and they do get pressure, right? Belton gives up some pressure here on the inside. Tom does a good job on the outside, but it's closing the pocket. Probably one of the better reps by Hutchinson this game. And Wicks sticking that foot in at the break and high pointing the ball, losing his shoe. That's a really nice job by Wicks to finish that play. But I also want to focus on Watson up at the top of the screen. He beats him, right? Earlier in the game, 21 gets beat vertical, right? That's what he's anticipating on this one, right? Hey, we got one high safety. If he goes vertical, it's going to be very hard for that safety to move over and make a play. So I know I'm alone, but if we pay attention, Watson is selling, looking eyes back to the quarterback as if he's going vertical, right? That's going to get 21 to turn his head around, and as soon as he turns his head, Watson is wide open. But of course, we've got the pressure. There's nothing Love can do. That is a good route by Watson, but again, he was trusting Wicks. Wicks was having a very good game, and Wicks, able to complete that and end the game for the Packers. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully the Packers can keep the momentum for their next game. This was a big game, a big win, 3-0 in the division. Next game is even bigger. At least they get 10 days off. You get to rest up a little bit. And I think we'll see after the Bears game this week if it is an even bigger game, because if the Bears lose to Philadelphia and then the Packers can beat the Bears the week after, that's going to be huge for the division race. Really impressed with the offense overall. The offensive line seems to be gelling. Love was pretty safe. He was comfortable all night. And, things look good going forward. This move to Sean Ryan, this move to Anthony Belton, you're going to get guys that are confident now in that position. And Banks seems to be getting more comfortable in these slide protections and passing off stunts as well. So really impressed overall with the film and happy with this win for the Green Bay Packers. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will be back with the defense video tomorrow. I'm not going to do a playbook series this week. Normally it is on Friday that I post that, but I'm not going to be able to get around to it with the holiday season. So hopefully you guys can understand. But again, I appreciate everyone watching, and I'll see you in the next video.